Hello, welcome back to another episode of Somewhere Between a Film and TV podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Daniel Parr.
And I'm Erwin.
And number one, thank you so much for listening and watching. Number two, what are they going to do?
They're going to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do. Erwin?
Yes.
What is it that we are reviewing?
Until Dawn.
Are you a fan of this game at all?
I don't really play much video games, except for Fortnite right now.
Except for Fortnite. And then... what else? Do you have the Sabrina Carpenter skin?
No, not yet.
But...
no, wait, I forgot who they're going to release. If they release a Charlie XCX skin, I'm buying it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm sure they will. They release like literally every single thing I can think of. Yeah. But Until Dawn, it's based on a video game, and then we'll probably get into my knowledge of it in a second. It's not a lot.
Yeah.
But
same.
Everything we review will always have full spoilers, full clarification on that. But Erwin, what is this about?
Until Dawn is about a group of friends. What is it, like 5 of them? I think it was 5.
Is it 5? There's the
4 or 5. Yeah,
there's the annoying one, the annoying one.
Oh, okay, let's calm down. Yeah. There's 5 of them. The main character, she's trying to find her sister, and all these clues led into like this town, into this home that they find, and they basically get trapped into this house, and they get to repeat, kind of like Happy Death Day. I haven't seen
good. That's really good and aware of itself.
Yeah. And basically, it's like that. They die over and over again, and they're experiencing different like levels of like fear that they have within themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like being utilized to like kill themselves over and over again.
Which is a pretty cool concept, I think.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I'd go so far as to say that's a great concept. And I thought the trailer for this was good.
Yeah, the trailer was really good.
Yeah. We're saying all this in the tone of the way we're saying it because my next question for you is, did you love it? Did you hate it? Or are you somewhere between?
I would say I'm somewhere between.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I'm back on my bullshit. I liked like the first half and I hated.
That was none of the choices.
I hated the second half of it. So I didn't like it.
Okay, there you
go. I'm somewhere between.
I think I liked some parts.
Yeah.
But I definitely didn't like a lot of things from this movie.
There's one thing in particular that drove me so insane. This movie was like kind of coasting by on like vibe alone for a while for me. Like it was fine enough.
Wait, let's talk about the likes.
Okay. What did you like about this?
What I liked was the ideas in this movie. I did.
Dude, every time.
I did, though. I really did. I liked... because, like, the first 3 times that they died.
Yeah.
Right? I liked the idea that it would seem very different each time.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until, of course, like, the montage thing happened. But seeing even that alone, I was like, oh, that looks so cool.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And I'm trying to think what else. Visually, some of the stuff in this movie visually looks nice. Some stuff I was like, that looks really scary.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And that's it.
Dude, you said,
I didn't really like the characters.
You said let's get our likes out of the way. You said like 2 things.
They're there in the movie. The movie's not that long too. It's less
like
than 2
hour 40.
Yeah,
I
think this movie could have done better if it was longer.
Was there an after credit? No, there wasn't. I stayed through the whole thing because I thought there was.
I wouldn't have stayed. I was like, if there's an after credit scene, I was like, I'm not.
It cuts to black and then it like teases this one like the guy's whistling because I guess he's still alive somehow.
Oh, another house.
Yeah. But I don't know what that means. But my knowledge of the game is that it's different conceptually in the sense that it's one of those choose your own adventure things, much like the Goosebumps book with like the wolf, which I remember all the time because that's my first one I ever experienced that was that format of storytelling. And much like I think the Telltale game, stuff like that. I
heard from a friend where it's like a butterfly effect type of game, and they have certain elements from this movie that are part of the game, like the Wendigos.
Wendigo, by the way, I didn't correct.
Wendigo.
That's the YouTuber that.
Wendigo.
Yeah.
That I look like.
Yeah.
But Wendigo, and then I think what was the other one? I think it's just that, but you die. No, they die multiple times. That's not in the game. Yeah. I realized that. I thought it was.
I think it's supposed to mimic the idea of, oh my god, I have to start over at the checkpoint, whatever, which is a cool idea. And
when that happened in, was it like the Lego games?
You have to start over at a certain point. But
because like whenever you jump, die,
oh yeah,
back,
back in
the lava in like Lego Star Wars.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, for some reason you're stuck at like 5, and you're like, this is so fucking hard.
What the heck? I'm trying to collect all the coins.
And they playing the SpongeBob movie the game.
True Jedi.
If you get the cheat codes in that, though, you can get every main character in that.
That is true. But there's no fun in that, though.
I know, but like that's how I got Yoda. And with that, though, I get it. Like, David F. Sandberg has made stuff that I like.
Yeah.
I like the first Shazam.
Yes, I do too. I really like the first Shazam.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
The second one, not so much.
Yeah, it was okay.
He's also made...
Have you seen Lights On?
Lights Out.
Oh,
and
Lights
I have,
Out.
which is very good, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But this, I did not find scary. I will say what I liked about it was some of the kills in it. I've gone on record on here before as well as saying that I'm very easy on horror movies. So when I say I did not like one, I'm kind of like, there's a massive issue with it.
Yeah,
I think
that makes sense.
And
when it comes to horror movies with me, though, I feel that a lot of times they're not scary in this. They don't really utilize a lot of like when it comes to like creatures or like mystical stuff in the movies, and they just rely so much more on like the deaths and the gore. And I don't think, to me, that's not scary.
Yeah.
And so in this movie, they definitely showcased more of that aspect too. Whenever like the deaths did happen,
I like death. I like
I like death. What?
I like gore in things.
Ew.
But the whole thing about that is though, the creatures, while some of them are designed pretty cool, are utilized next to nowhere. Because
I think it doesn't help with the fact that we just kept seeing them over and over again, and that the death aspect, because that once the death aspect was shown and they can come back, it feels like that's not scary anymore. Because if they die, they go back to where they started.
Yeah, no, and there's some stuff in here that I thought was executed well enough. The first half, I think, if it would have just stuck with that, and before I get to my like huge crux of what made me like kind of hate watching this after a while, was that for the first half initially, the setup, I think, is all right. Of course, it plays off of the trope of don't go down there, and then the person at the gas station it's very much, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Even X, right? Yeah, X does it to an extent.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
But it's always though they walk into somewhere, the guy's like, "Where are you going?" And then it's like,
oh, dude.
And then they're like down the way, and then
even with the characters, I found kind of annoying sometimes. Like that one guy who was like the ex-boyfriend to the main girl. I just found him so annoying, and it was just like so obvious whenever like whoever their characters were, like who they were trying to play as, and whenever they would like yell at each other, like, is there a term for it? And when it comes to like when you're writing these characters where they would like throw things to like basically flesh out more of that character.
Do you mean say stuff?
Say
stuff unnaturally about themselves that,
or not about them, either about themselves or like about the other person. It's like, just admit that you're only doing this because you want to get back together with her. It's just to prove instead of just like you like not letting the audience actually think.
There is a term for that, and it's called exposition, but it's expository dialogue in the sense that it's kind of the cheapest way to get your feelings across, much like, let's say you write in a therapist into something to convey their feelings towards the therapist.
Like the guy, how he's like a psychology major.
Oh, right, yeah. I kind of liked that joke, though, where they're like, oh, I'm a psychology major.
Yeah. And then, and that other girl, not the one that's like, who can like feel spirits or whatever.
We'll get to it.
But the other one, where it's like she was dating somebody else like 6 months ago, and then before her, and this and that, and it's just like, what?
That felt like it had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, and I'm just like, are they just trying to like expand more of these characters just for we can have a better?
It's weird because with them, I have no idea if you're supposed to care for them.
Yeah,
because everyone got on my nerves.
Yeah, especially with the decisions that they were making left and right. I was like, what is happening?
No, and then occasionally there's a moment where I get it. The whole thing about they're going there because they have some unresolved trauma with. I cannot remember the main character's name for the life of me. I just remember thinking it was ridiculous. It was.
It starts with a C.
Which I'll look up in a second whenever I toss it to you to say something.
And I catch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll just look it up.
But okay, while I say that, then Clover, isn't it Clover?
Clover, yes.
Yeah, it is Clover.
Because they said that if they let one person die, and they can let 4 people leave, right? Like a 4-leaf clover.
And then he says somebody always dies, and then she has that. I think it's supposed to be cool, or she's like, "But this time it's you." Like,
this time it's you, dude. The way he dies, it pissed me off too. Because I was just like, is he really that stupid?
No, dude. Were you thinking the same thing? I was like, was his T like an inch away from me? I was like, that guy's a fucking dumbass.
Like, how do you not notice that dropping on your desk the entire time?
No, because he's giving his monologue where he's like, "I'm evil.
I am evil. I love fear."
No.
Yeah, her name is Clover. There's Max, Nina, Megan, and Abe. Those are the 5.
Dude, okay, so what was the point of Megan's like spiritual? I can see like psychic visions. I can feel the spirits or whatever. That it's utilized next to nowhere, right? I don't know what in here is like from the game and what isn't, but what on earth was the point of including that?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I don't think you have to make character choices that necessarily affect the narrative overall. What I would like is for character choices to affect the narrative in the sense that it makes sense for them to do that, even if it's dumb, because it fits them.
Yes.
But this is one of those movies that's written for the characters to... The screenplay is guiding what they need to do.
Yeah.
Not what the actual character traits are.
Yes.
Because they
especially with the main character. She definitely... This flies in my way! She definitely made choices like in the first 3 where it's just like I understand like her trying to find her sister, but at the same time there's no logical sense, and so it made me care less about her, especially if she dies the first time and realize she comes back. And it's like you should be aware like this could possibly happen again. So why should you like fall for the things that are happening around you? Yeah. Because like my thinking was whenever that paranormal thing where it's like her thinking that was Melanie knocking at the door,
right,
and then she gets like killed.
That's kind of where the movie started to aggravate me because
I'm just like, dude, she died.
Yeah,
you heard her like the guts and everything, and like the blood.
Yeah,
and like like dying. I'm like, I'm sorry if my brother or sister are there, and I hear that or that other door. I'm like, I'm not gonna open it.
Like I'm gonna cry.
I'm gonna cry knowing that they fucking died right there.
But then was that night already like the second or third at that point?
Yeah.
But if it's like the third or something, use some common sense.
Yes. Because that's what that girl Nina. Yeah. Whenever she stabs Abe from the back.
Yeah, I kind of liked that, even though I was like, he was the only one kind of speaking rationally. That's one of the times in the movie where I was thinking, okay, this feels more like a character choice. Even if it's dumb, I feel like this character would make that.
Yes. Yeah. Especially when like he was like, how can you help your friends if you can't help yourself type of thing. It's like, we need to go and get help. And I was like, that made sense.
They treat the guy kind of as like the douchey asshole.
Yeah.
But because he's the one that's like, why?
Yeah. It's like, guys, what are you doing? It's just because I'm not part of your friend group?
Yeah.
It's like, what?
No, and then, I don't know, it's kind of like, people are like, oh, 2 people being delusional together. This is like 4 people being delusional together. They're stuck in a situation.
Yeah.
And I want to like touch on, because we kind of just went straight into the negatives.
I can't think of
it's because there's some cool stuff visually in here. And it's one of those things, it's the worst type of experience we both have. It had so much potential.
Yeah,
Even if it didn't follow apparently what the game is. I've heard this shit has next to nothing to do with the game.
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah. Because
at the end of you can always do that. But even now, it's like they had nothing to do with the game. But even with that, it just didn't go anywhere too.
But butterfly effect movies are pretty cool. There's not that many of them.
Yeah.
Why not choose that format of narrative either? Because there's even like, there's a joke in this that kind of works for me, where one of them says, this is just like that movie. And then somebody says, there's a lot of movies that are like this. And then,
that's funny.
But then later on, they kind of undercut it by tying it back and saying, oh, this is nothing like those movies. Like, I didn't need that. I was like, now the joke no longer works. I'm like, I didn't, like, you know how sometimes you're kind of like, something's working and then they say something one too many times and you're kind of like, oh, great. All right.
I just like the idea of like them experiencing this, like, this is like this movie, but then go, wait, this is like a different movie and then a different movie, and then it's just like different genres of things happening, like horror.
Yeah.
That's that we could have seen in this movie.
So there's a moment in like the third act where he's like, I'm an evil man and I've created manifestations of all of your fears and they're different every time. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
They're the fucking same.
I was like, the fact that there's like a freaking slasher got me. I was like, I'm tired of this guy.
I love slasher stuff, but you sold me, not just the trailer, but the movie itself sold me on it's going to be different.
Yes.
And yes, the slasher stuff works. Yes, the spirit stuff works.
Yes.
Monster stuff.
Monster stuff. Dude, we saw that page thing or whatever. It was like, it looked like a werewolf.
Yeah.
And I was
I thought, oh shit.
I was like, werewolves? Yes, let's go. And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
But like, we saw that big monster and then that was it.
Remind me of Thor Ragnarok. It was like, big monster. And then does it ever come back?
No.
Why didn't they? I don't know. Was the budget too small? Like I thought it was cool in the sense that it made the world feel bigger.
Yes.
Right? For like a second. But it's not expanded on any more than that. Instead, we're stuck with, instead of us feeling like we either saw something reinvented, something we'd seen before, or a brand new concept of like the Wendigo stuff, which apparently is not shown in movies a lot, which they do here, and I have a complaint about that all on its own, where instead I felt like I got 4 incredibly repetitive horror movies I'd already seen before.
Yes.
Because I've already seen the slasher movie. I love them. I do. I've already seen the spirit possession movie. I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
And then I can't even think of... I've seen the whole guy, like, he's up to something devious. And then, like...
He's up to something devious.
I don't know. It's just like, I've seen it all.
Yeah.
And it could have been something. It was the most frustrating kind of me sitting there thinking, like, I'm fucking bored.
Yeah.
And that above all else was the most frustrating thing for me. But I don't know if you want to touch on anything specific that you have a complaint on.
I think what I mostly complained about was just the fact of the character choices.
Yeah.
I just can't get over the fact that how some of them were just, some of the choices in the very like first half that they were making. And I understand it's like the first couple of deaths, but there was a point where they said like, this is our 13th time dying. And I was like, what?
Okay, so I think we're going to have the same core complaint, I think.
Okay.
Do you want to say it or do you want me to say it?
I mean, mine, I was just like, why don't they just show the deaths in like the different like horror elements, I would say.
Okay, mine's a little bit more... I have the same complaint. This movie makes a choice about a little more than halfway through.
Yes.
Where somebody says, we've been having the same night for, 4 nights, they say initially?
Yeah.
They're like, no, 5. And then somebody says, no, 13. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, that's kind of a cool twist. But then I was like, wait. And then somebody was like, oh guys, like, look at my phone.
Dude,
and
that's
then,
where I pissed me. I can't. That pissed me off right there. Maybe that's what it is. That's what triggered me.
And then it was the montage of everything that was different about separate horror movies within a 2-minute time span. And they're like, oh my God, I can't believe that we went through all of this. And then I'm thinking, they're probably like, oh, how crazy would it be if somebody else were to have seen this? And then that choice made me so angry that I was like, I kind of hate this.
Yeah. Because you could have shown like 5 minutes of each segment or something.
Yeah.
Of like just, like different, of like them going like through different types of like horror. But of course they didn't make that choice. And just seeing that snippet, it's like they could have, but they didn't.
No, and then
it's aggravated you more.
Because it's also in the trailer where it's the whole like, oh, is there something on my face? But then I'm like, also, what kind of manifestation of horror was that? They said it was all of our worst fears, right?
Yeah, their worst fears was like hygiene.
I guess so.
Bad hygiene.
Yeah. I mean, like not taking care of your skin.
Yeah, no
properly.
skin. Yeah, no skincare routine.
No, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And I was expecting more of it. And then like sometimes they show stuff that's in the. They're like, oh my God, that's so crazy. I'm like,
wait,
yeah,
what was
crazy.
the big monster then? What would that be like? What fear is that?
I have no idea.
See, that's such an interesting thing because it makes me want. Now it's like seeing different types of fears. I would love to see that. What would the werewolf be?
Erwin, what on earth is the tap water?
Well, they said like it's self-destruction, but I don't know why it had to do with the water. I guess they were just thirsty.
No, I mean, I don't know. Being thirsty, is that the fear? Is that...
No, the guy said that self-destruction, right? But I don't know why it had to be water for them to explode.
I don't know what it says about me that I think that's the best part of the movie. Like when they're first, the guy
that was funny.
And touching on the humor in this, which we'll get to in a second, I think whenever he starts coughing and he like hides it against that, I was like, he would be that guy. I was like, that guy, the way he's acting, I was like, he would be the guy that just hides it from everybody. But then he blows up. And I was like, I had that initial shock of like, I was like, that's amazing. Actually.
And then when they were all exploding, right?
Yeah.
And the main character, Clover, and her ex, what's his name? I don't remember his name.
I don't remember. You said it.
Yeah, I know. I just forgot what it was. But she goes, "You have to kill me." It starts like he's like trying to choke her, and then he explodes. I was like,
he's like, I can't do it, and then blows up.
Yeah.
I had not a lot of people in my theater, but I heard somebody bust out laughing at that, and it made me wonder. I think that this movie's trying to be something, a franchise that I love. Can you take one guess at what it is?
Scream.
Yeah. A little bit too much. It was way too mimicky, I think, for me. And I know that was a wave of horror movies in the late 90s. There was another trailer for another I Know What You Did Last Summer, like right before this. And so I was like, oh, they're bringing that back? I was like, that's cool. I enjoy that first one. And
have you seen the other ones?
Not the second one. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I've seen the first one. And so when the hook comes back, I was like, is this what I think it is? And then Freddie Prinze Jr. shows up. I was like, oh my God. I'm excited for that, actually. But
did you know he played Fred in Scooby-Doo? Dude,
I am the last person. I am the last person you need to see.
Did you know that?
Yes, I knew that.
And you know his name is Freddy?
Yeah, just like the guy. Of course I know that.
Okay.
I love Scooby-Doo a lot.
You know, he actually goes by Freddie King Jr.
What? That's not true.
Because he's older now.
He grew up. It's because he got married to Sarah Michelle Gellar. But
now he goes by Freddie King Sr.
Okay. No, that's not how
and then his son is Freddie Prinze Jr. now.
Dude, that's kind of awesome. Freddie Prinze Jr. the second?
No, it's just Prinze Jr.
I don't want to get into the junior thing with you again.
Okay, that was funny. All right, go ahead.
But did you think the humor here worked? Like, did you feel like it was trying to be funny? Like,
I mean, it was trying to be funny. I think the exploding thing made me laugh more so. I don't know if it was trying to be funny, but every time it did happen, I was just like, that's funny.
Yeah. There are some jokes that sort of work. There are some that the actors deliver in such a mean way that I'm like, they're not even friends with each other, are they? I mean, there's a plot point in this movie, we were kind of talking about it beforehand, where they're like, what is she going to do? Go kill herself because she tried to kill herself twice already? And you're like, dude, what?
Whoa!
And some of the characters react like, why would you say that? And then I'm like, you just said some shit like that like 2 minutes before.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I think the biggest thing, because it doesn't execute the concept properly, you know what the problem ends up being? Is the fact that so many people die over and over, there's no stakes. No. Because everyone lives at the end of it.
It's like they turn into like the Wendigos.
Yeah.
But even then, it's just like, like every time like this thing how it happened, they come back. Yeah. And then especially when they said like, oh, we survived more than 11 nights. Because they said like nobody lives past 11 nights. And then they're on the 13th. And so it's like, what?
There was such a much better way to execute that twist. Like, let's say something like The Lighthouse, where you don't know how much time has passed, and then like you see the names, and then maybe, I don't know, they could play with the fact that they don't exactly remember what night it even is, and then I don't know if it were longer, like you said.
Yeah, I think if it was longer. Yeah, and maybe if they cut back on the jokes, like the humor.
Yeah, too. I get what they're going for. Like, I liked Hard Eyes a lot earlier this year, although I'm kind of struggling to remember it. But like, I liked that movie.
I remember Hard Eyes. That was good.
And I like that movie quite a bit, and the humor works. Here, I think that they're getting too caught up in the whole scream of everything.
Yeah.
Where the teenagers have to be like snarky and have to be aware of their surroundings and that they're in a sort of horror setting. But if we're going to touch on the whole idea of this being the manifestation of our anxieties and our fears and like despair and whatever, fucking do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get...
I'm still wondering what that monster was.
Because I don't know, like,
what are they scared of?
Being a monster yourself. I mean, like, if it were, I don't know, if you had a young kid, maybe you could have some really like kind of with them for whatever reason. You could have some more instinctual fears, like clowns or something. Like,
oh yeah, I can see that happening.
But a mixture of more conceptual stuff, but then also really like kind of basic stuff like that.
Yeah.
the whole idea of a Wendigo that they portrayed was sort of losing yourself, I think.
Yeah.
And a lot of the concepts here lend themselves to, more. And like you said, the stuff with the slasher, I mean, like the kills are cool, but it's stuff you've seen. And
and you can only do so much though too, because it's like one whack, you're down.
No, and then there's some setting stuff I liked here, like the stuff not just in the house, but that it progressively gets more and more.
Like it shows the town.
The town, grows each time. Like I told you before we even started recording, did you feel like the carnival thing that they show is going to show up in any kind of setting?
Well, yeah, I thought it was going to be something more, but it was still in the house, and then it was like in a bunker, underground.
No, and I don't mind that. We like movies that are, contained. I like Heretic. I liked that movie quite a bit last year. That also felt like it didn't utilize its own setting a whole lot, but that's a different complaint for a different movie. But this one...
Check it out somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in our video. Yeah, please
somewhere.
do. Somewhere down there between our other videos. Yeah.
Nice.
And this one, where it kind of comes up short, is just that I also liked the idea of whenever she goes down and sees the kind of like possessed witch lady, and she like sticks her breathing stuff on her.
Oh.
But then she dies almost immediately after that. But that's because she made a dumbass choice to walk out there in the first place. They're like, don't let it in. She's like, okay. And then like lets it in immediately. I don't know. It's just, I think the reason why it was such a letdown for me is because even the first, it was one of those movies, like, because horror movies consistently, at least now they're getting a lot of respect. But for a while there was such a kind of barrier for critics and stuff to that extent where it felt like that's why the whole thriller horror thing came up as a whole conceit anyway. Because when Thriller was kind of debuting as
every time you say Thriller, I think of Michael Jackson.
The song?
Yeah.
It's a good song. But the whole idea, the notion of that being a genre initially started kind of being more as a thing because they're like, oh, that's the respected version of a horror movie. We've since separated from that, and now horror's a lot more respected and people love it. Sinners, and it kind of sucks watching this just after we've seen that. I feel like it came off even worse because I just saw a horror movie to that level,
Yeah.
And then I think that this sort of plays into the kind of thing that people didn't want to be associated with back in, like, it felt so much like an early 2000s horror movie to me.
Early 2010s.
Yeah, like Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake. Or Friday the 13th, which I actually like that one. The remake of that. That, My Bloody Valentine. That level of, we don't want to be associated with this. And while I think this is a little bit better than that, I do think it feels kind of a different era in that I also thought that one of my other complaints about it was it looked like a streaming movie. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that.
I kind of got that out of it. I didn't love its visual execution.
I don't know. I saw Hellraiser, the remake of it. That one
definitely.
Oh,
the newer
The newer one that they did.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that a while ago. Because I think Nina, the one actress, she was in Hellraiser. I was like, why does she look so familiar? And I was like, because I saw her in that one. And that movie was terrible.
Was it really?
Yeah. And that one definitely looks more like a streaming movie. Yeah. More so than this one. So
that's not like an entire slight to streaming movies. You know which movies were great? Were the Fear Street trilogy. They're great. They're really good. And I'm really excited for the new one that's coming out. I think it's Prom something, but I loved those, all of them. That execution of that trilogy is insane. But that's great. I recommend those. That's my review of this.
Great.
But do you have any other negatives?
No. It's just because like the thing of, when it comes to movies where it tends to repeat itself when like in a certain like story element. That it does get boring at times, and it's just repetitive, it gets repetitive, and so like there's only so much you can say about this movie too. Just because it says the same thing over and over again, and the only things like that changes like at the very end when it's like, you know what, we're gonna do something different now, and I'm like, like after 13 times, and I'm like, okay.
I would have liked to have seen the other 9 or 10 that they did, So because I don't know, I'm not going to complain about this entirely because we gave a really, really great review of Smile 2 last year because that's a movie I loved. This movie's
so good.
It's amazing. This movie's utilization of jump scares, however, though, grated on me.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing up Smile 2 because I want to say that I don't have issues with jump scares all the time. What I have an issue with is the loud ass noise that is used in place of a scare. Like, there's moments where, I mean, of course you know that they're setting this up, where somebody's peeking through the blinds and you're like, oh my god, is there going to be something there? There's nothing there. Are they going to turn around? It's going to play a loud ass noise at me? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's such like 1, 2, 3 horror beat filmmaking that like you can see it coming. And
my favorite is always was like the first Insidious movie.
Yeah.
I love talking about those movies just because the way James Wan.
I will talk about James Wan's use of jump scares all day.
It's amazing because he just shows it.
Yeah.
No sound or nothing, and it's just like if you're actually paying attention to the movie, that's scary.
Also, he fucks with you. Like, there's with that. You turn around. Is something there? No. It does. It goes back. It goes back. Is something there? No.
Yeah. And the story's still going.
Yeah.
And you don't realize like something is just happening right then and there.
The most, I think I can say this, the best jump scare I've ever seen is in The Conjuring 2 by James Wan, and it's the scene with the initial reveal of the nun.
Yeah.
That,
what do they made like 3 or 4 movies out of that one scene?
Yeah, which those movies are not that good. But the whole like the painting, and then it's dark because the painting's already black, and then you don't realize if it's even actually the painting anymore, if it's actually her because of the way they play with the paint and the prosthetics. Unbelievable. And here, I don't know, you just start to trail off. You're like, oh, this is inspired by so much better. You start to think about so much better because you're kind of bored out of your mind. Because I was just thinking, I saw this the same day I saw The Accountant 2. I was like, I am so excited to watch The Accountant 2 in like an hour. Yeah, I was really let down by this. It's one of the, because we both loved the trailer. I think we both said that we were really excited for it. And I was
one of those ones where it's like the trailer turned out to be better than the movie.
Yeah, this was one of the bigger kind of me being really irritated by something by the end of it. And I've since thought about it more, and it's one of those movies where thinking about it more did not help.
Yeah.
Overall, what is your score?
A 3.
Oh, really? That's passing. Really?
No? Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Because I still like the ideas. I think that's what I'm still not over with. Because I feel like I would think about this movie and compare it to other things too.
Yeah.
So.
I am being... Don't. There you go.
Okay, go ahead.
I can't... Am I being nice by doing this?
Dang, dude, that's really nice. 2.5
out of 5.
I think you are being nice.
I was really torn between 2 and 2.5 out of 5. It's because like it's the same thing. There's some stuff I liked in it. I like the prosthetics are really cool.
Yes.
I still think that the Wendigos look like they're from House of Torment billboards, and they could have done better on that. Yeah. And apparently they're the most vital thing to get right in the game, but I'm not too familiar with that myself.
Yeah, I don't know.
2.5. Yeah, I'll go 2.5. I didn't like it.
Damn. But, yeah, I mean, it's not the best. I mean, I was telling people, I was like, I don't know. It's one of those movies where I was like, I wouldn't be upset if I saw this at home.
Yeah.
Type of thing, so.
I wouldn't. I feel like if this is something that I saw whenever I do my October Halloween thing, I would probably like be way nicer to it because it'd probably just be like me kind of like, oh yeah, I'm like,
I got the best of every single horror thing I saw in one movie, kind of.
No, and I'm like, I mean, like, I don't know. It was like, it felt very much, will you feel upset if you watch this on Halloween, kind of like drinking? And
I'm watching, was it Hubie?
Hubie Halloween?
Hubie Halloween?
That's a much better movie than this.
Yeah. That's not even scary.
Are you kidding me? Huh? That part where it turned, June Squibb's wearing all those shirts that say like "Eat Me Out" and stuff on them. All right, what's up next?
The Accountant 2.
The Accountant 2. We're very excited. I'm very excited to talk about that. What did you guys think of Until Dawn?
That's it.
We want to know.
I was like, is there more to the title? Yes, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know down below.
Please do. And what did you think of the game? Is it much better than this?
I've heard it's
Compare
much better.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, because we came at this with not being familiar with that, and we still didn't like it. So thank you guys or I didn't. He thought it was okay. But thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We will see you next time.